The cosmic classroom. In a galaxy far removed from Earth, nestled within the vibrant expanse of the Andromeda sector, there existed a peculiar planet known as Zorath. This planet was home to an array of sentient life forms, each more bizarre than the last. Among them was Professor Sopel, an esteemed educator renowned for his captivating lectures on intergalactic phenomena. His classroom, a grand amphitheater filled with holographic displays and interactive learning tools, was always buzzing with excitement. On this particular day, Professor Sopel had gathered his students to discuss one of the most enigmatic subjects in their curriculum, the notorious Zorg-N Nebula. With his tentacles gracefully gesturing towards a holographic projection of swirling colors and chaotic energies, he began, "As I guided you earlier, the Zorg-N Nebula is strictly off-limits to all sentient life forms." His voice resonated through the room, drawing attention from various species represented in his class, each student eager to absorb knowledge. The nebula was infamous for its unpredictable nature, capable of distorting reality itself. As Sopel elaborated on its dangers, he noticed a forest of appendages shoot up in anticipation of questions. From traditional arms to prehensile tails, even oozing pseudopods were raised high. "A volunteer?" he asked, scanning the crowd with his compound eyes until they landed on Gloopthor, a gelatinous blob who seemed particularly eager. "But Professor," Gloop burbled excitedly, "what about the rumors of a human expedition into the nebula last solar cycle?" A hush fell over the classroom. Even the ambient hum of life support systems seemed to quiet in anticipation. Professor Sopel's exoskeleton visibly paled at the mention of humans. "Ah yes, the humans," he said nervously, adjusting his holographic display. "Always the humans." He cleared his throat, gesture that was quite different for his species, and continued with an air of dramatic flair. "Well, I suppose we should address the chronic in the room, shouldn't we?" The students leaned forward, intrigued by what was coming next. "As you all know," he began, "humans are a relatively new addition to our Galactic Federation. How shall I put this delicately? They are perhaps the universe's most confounding anomaly since the discovery of chocolate-flavored dark matter." Laughter rippled through the classroom as students exchanged glances. Even Gloopthor jiggled in amusement. "You see," Professor Sopel continued with growing enthusiasm, "humans possess this inexplicable ability to befriend things, dangerous things, things that by all logical reasoning should reduce them to a fine mist of subatomic particles." With a flick of his tentacle, he brought up another holographic display, showcasing the human petting what appeared to be a snarling six-headed beast, an entity that would send shivers down any sensible creature's spine. "This," he announced dramatically, "is what humans call a good boy. The rest of us call it a Kalan death beast, the kind that makes apex predators wake up screaming." Gasps filled the room as students instinctively activated their defense mechanisms. Shields flickered to life while spines bristled in alarm. One unfortunate soul at the front promptly molted in terror. Now, Professor Sopel chuckled, his mandibles clicking in amusement at their reaction. "No need for all that. This is just a recording." He paused for effect before adding with a grin, "Although I must say, Zorak, that was quite an impressive display of molting. You might consider a career in the performing arts." The embarrassed student managed a weak chirp from behind their shed exoskeleton as laughter echoed throughout the classroom once more. But Professor Sopel was not finished yet. He had more stories to share about humanity's peculiarities. "Back to our subject," he resumed. "Our dear Captain Jack Harper has made quite a name for himself among interstellar circles." He projected an image onto the screen, Captain Harper standing proudly at the helm of his ship with an unmistakable grin plastered across his face. "This is the man who made first contact with void whales by giving them what humans refer to as a good belly rub." A collective groan echoed through the classroom as students rolled their eyes at yet another absurdity attributed to humans. Indeed, Professor Sopel nodded sagely. It seems our Captain Harper decided that exploring Zorg N Nebula, with all its reality-warping properties, would make an excellent destination for his latest field trip. He flicked another tentacle and displayed an image that showcased Harper's ship, the haphazard collection of parts welded together, approaching swirling clouds filled with ominous energy. "Now, class," he asked with sarcasm dripping from his tone, "can anyone tell me why this is monumentally stupid?" A tentative tendril rose from Cirque's, a plant-based student whose leaves rustled nervously as he spoke up. "Because quantum fluctuations can alter reality itself," Cirque exclaimed. "Excellent." Professor Xopel beamed at him. "Precisely. That's why we sensible species stay far away from Zorg N. But humans, oh no, they see danger signs and think it's an invitation." The students watched in horrified fascination as Harper's ship plunged into the nebula amidst blaring alarms and warping reality. For a moment, it seemed like they would witness destruction unfold before their eyes. "Now, students," Professor Xopel said seriously, "what do you think happened next? Based on everything we know about this nebula and its properties." Silence enveloped the room as each student pondered deeply until TX-42, a robotic exchange student from Andromeda, spoke up. "Logical conclusion: total annihilation. Probability of survival: 0.00001%. "Precisely," exclaimed Professor Xopel dramatically. "By all rights, we should be viewing Captain Jack Harper's last moments. His atoms scattered across dimensions, their very existence erased from time." He paused again for effect while scanning his audience with anticipation before revealing what came next. With another flourish, he displayed one final holographic image: Harper's ship intact amidst swirling energies, surrounded by beings made entirely of light and color that defied comprehension itself. "What you're seeing here, class," Professor Xopel said softly now, "is the impossible." A chorus of disbelieving exclamations filled the room as students struggled to comprehend what they were witnessing. Gloop Thor nearly liquefied in shock while TX-42 began smoking slightly from overheating circuits, trying to process this impossible scene unfolding before them. "Oh, it gets better," chuckled Professor Xopel mischievously as he continued narrating Harper's mission log. "They're just big old space puppies. A little scratch behind their quantum ears and their putty in your hands. Who's a good interdimensional entity? Yes, you are." The class erupted into chaos, students gasping and laughing while trying to wrap their minds around how Captain Jack Harper had managed not only to survive but also befriend creatures thought only existing in mythological tales across galaxies. As laughter filled every corner of Zorth's grand amphitheater, realization dawned upon them all. Humanity was indeed baffling yet fascinating beyond measure. Testament that sometimes friendship could bloom even amidst chaos and danger lurking within cosmic realms unknown. The expedition begins. As the echoes of Professor Xopel's lecture faded, the students of Zorith's esteemed academy buzzed with excitement and curiosity. They had just been introduced to the enigmatic Captain Jack Harper and his reckless expedition into the Zorg N Nebula. The tales of humans befriending fierce creatures had ignited a spark of fascination among the diverse student body, each one eager to unravel the mysteries surrounding this peculiar species. The decision to explore. In a dimly lit command room aboard the Starship Odyssey, Captain Harper stood before a large holographic map of the Zorg N Nebula. His crew, a motley assortment of humans and aliens, gathered around him, their faces reflecting a mixture of anticipation and trepidation. Harper's infectious enthusiasm was palpable as he pointed to swirling clouds of vibrant colors on the display. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice booming with excitement, "this is our chance to make history. The Zorg N Nebula has been shrouded in mystery for far too long. We have the opportunity to explore its depths and perhaps even make contact with those quantum entities." Low murmurs spread through the crew. Some exchanged skeptical glances while others leaned in closer, captivated by Harper's words. Among them was Dr. Ella Voss, brilliant xenobiologist who had joined the crew for her expertise in alien life forms. With her bright blue skin shimmering under the command room lights, she raised a hand. "Captain, while I admire your enthusiasm, we must consider the risks involved. The nebula is known for its unpredictable quantum fluctuations. We could lose our ship, or worse," she cautioned. Harper waved off her concerns with a grin. "Come on, Elara. Where's your sense of adventure? Think of what we could discover. We might even find new allies or, who knows, new pets." He winked playfully. The mention of pets elicited chuckles from some crew members, but Dr. Voss remained serious. "I understand your excitement, but we need to prepare thoroughly. We should run simulations and gather more data before we venture into such an unstable area." Crew dynamics. The expedition begins. As the echoes of Professor Zyxopol's lecture faded, the students of Zorith's esteemed academy buzzed with excitement and curiosity. They had just been introduced to the enigmatic Captain Jack Harper and his reckless expedition into the Zork-N Nebula. The tales of humans befriending fierce creatures had ignited a spark of fascination among the diverse student body, each one eager to unravel the mystery surrounding this peculiar species. The decision to explore. In a dimly lit command room aboard the Starship Odyssey, Captain Harper stood before a large holographic map of the Zork-N Nebula. His crew, a motley assortment of humans and aliens, gathered around him, their faces reflecting a mixture of anticipation and trepidation. Harper's infectious enthusiasm was palpable as he pointed to swirling clouds of vibrant colors on the display. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, his voice booming with excitement, "this is our chance to make history. The Zork-N Nebula has been shrouded in mystery for far too long. We have the opportunity to explore its depths and perhaps even make contact with those quantum entities." Low murmurs spread through the crew. Some exchanged skeptical glances while others leaned in closer, captivated by Harper's words. Among them was Dr. Elara Voss, a brilliant xenobiologist who had joined the crew for her expertise in alien life forms. With her bright blue skin shimmering under the command room lights, she raised a hand. "Captain, while I admire your enthusiasm, we must consider the risks involved. The nebula is known for its unpredictable quantum fluctuations. We could lose our ship, or worse," she cautioned. Harper waved off her concerns with a grin. "Come on, Elara. Where's your sense of adventure? Think of what we could discover. We might even find new allies or, who knows, new pets." He winked playfully. The mention of pets elicited chuckles from some crew members, but Dr. Voss remained serious. "I understand your excitement, but we need to prepare thoroughly. We should run simulations and gather more data before we venture into such an unstable area." Crew dynamics. The debate continued as crew members weighed in with their opinions. There was Krieg, a hulking alien from the planet Grathos who had a reputation for his strength and bravery. He leaned back in his chair, arms crossed defiantly. "I say we go for it. What's life without a little risk? Besides, if anyone can handle it, it's us." On the other side of the table sat Tilly, a small but fierce human engineer known for her quick thinking and resourcefulness. "I'm with Elara on this one," she chimed in. "We need to be smart about this. We can't just charge in without knowing what we're up against." Harper listened intently as his crew debated back and forth. He appreciated their passion, but felt an undeniable pull toward adventure that he couldn't ignore. After several minutes of discussion, he raised his hand to silence them. "All right, here's what we'll do," he declared decisively. "We'll run preliminary simulations tonight while I gather intel on previous expeditions into the nebula. If we can confirm that it's safe enough to enter, then we go. Deal?" A chorus of reluctant agreement filled the room as crew members nodded, albeit hesitantly. Preparations for departure. That evening, as stars twinkled outside the viewport of Odyssey, each member of the crew focused on their tasks in preparation for their daring expedition. Tilly worked tirelessly in engineering, ensuring that every system was functioning at peak performance while also modifying their shields to withstand potential quantum disturbances. Dr. Voss immersed herself in research papers and data logs from past expeditions into the nebula, searching for any clues that might indicate what they were about to face. She scribbled notes furiously as she pieced together information about energy readings and strange encounters reported by previous explorers. Meanwhile, Krieg practiced combat drills in the training room, flexing his muscles and envisioning himself facing off against whatever creatures might lurk within the nebula's depths. As night fell aboard Odyssey, Harper gathered his crew once more for a final briefing before departure. The atmosphere was charged with excitement mixed with apprehension. Everyone could feel that they were on the brink of something extraordinary. "Tomorrow," he began, "we embark on an adventure that will change our lives forever. Whatever happens out there, remember that we are a team. We'll face challenges together and emerge stronger." His words resonated through the room as cheers erupted from his crew. Into the unknown. With preparations complete and spirits high, Odyssey launched into space at dawn's first light. As they approached the Zorg N Nebula, swirling colors danced across their viewport like an ethereal painting come to life. The nebula loomed ahead, a vast expanse filled with chaotic energy that seemed almost alive. "Steady as she goes," Harper commanded as they entered the outer edges of the nebula. The ship trembled slightly as they passed through waves of energy that flickered like lightning all around them. Dr. Voss monitored readings closely from her station beside Harper at the helm. "We're experiencing fluctuations in gravitational pull," she reported anxiously. "Adjusting stabilizers now. Good work," Harper replied confidently as he navigated through turbulent currents that threatened to toss them off course. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout Odyssey. Red lights flashed ominously as Dr. Voss shouted over the noise, "Captain, we've lost power to our aft shields. We need to reroute energy immediately." With adrenaline coursing through his veins, Harper gripped the controls tighter than ever before. "Tilly, can you get those shields back online?" "I'm on it," Tilly replied from engineering as she worked furiously at her console. Glints of wonder, just when it seemed like chaos would consume them entirely. Brilliant flash erupted outside their viewport. The crew gasped collectively as they witnessed an awe-inspiring sight. Luminous beings made entirely of energy swirling gracefully through space like cosmic dancers. "What are those?" Krieg breathed in disbelief. Dr. Voss's eyes widened with wonder as she studied them intently through her instruments. Those are quantum entities," she exclaimed incredulously. Harper felt exhilarated at witnessing such beauty amidst danger. This was precisely why he had embarked on this journey, to explore wonders beyond imagination. "Let's get closer," he urged excitedly while adjusting course toward these magnificent beings dancing through cosmic light. As they approached cautiously, Harper could hardly contain his excitement. He felt an overwhelming sense of connection to these entities. They radiated warmth and curiosity unlike anything he had ever experienced before. Cosmic connection. As Odyssey drew nearer, something extraordinary happened. One of the glowing entities floated toward them, its form shifting and pulsating like liquid light, and hovered just outside their ship's hull. "Captain, it's trying to communicate," Dr. Voss shouted urgently as she monitored energy readings surging wildly. Harper leaned closer to the viewport. His heart raced faster than ever before at this unprecedented encounter with beings thought only to exist in legends. "Open communications," he commanded excitedly. He wanted desperately to reach out, to connect with these cosmic creatures who seemed so alive. The entity shimmered brighter before releasing waves of energy that enveloped Odyssey like a gentle breeze caressing skin, a sensation unlike anything they had ever felt before. "What is happening?" Krieg asked breathlessly while staring wide-eyed at this surreal moment unfolding before them all. I think it likes us," Dr. Voss whispered softly, a smile breaking across her face as realization dawned upon them all. Perhaps fearsome creatures could become friends after all. As laughter erupted among crew members, filled with joy at this unexpected twist, their hearts swelled with hope. They were not merely explorers venturing into danger but ambassadors forging connections across galaxies. The expedition had only just begun, but already it promised adventures beyond imagination. Encountering the unknown. As the Odyssey floated gently amid the swirling energies of the Zorg and Nebula, Captain Jack Harper and his crew found themselves on the brink of an extraordinary encounter. The luminous beings of energy danced around their ship, shifting colors and pulsating with a rhythm that seemed to resonate with the very fabric of the universe. It was a sight that defied all logic and understanding, yet it felt undeniably welcoming. The quantum entities. The crew watched in awe as one of the quantum entities floated closer to the viewport. Its form shimmered like liquid light, twisting and turning in mesmerizing patterns. Harper, filled with a sense of wonder, took a step forward, his heart racing with excitement. "Can you feel that?" he asked his crew, his voice barely above a whisper. "It's like they're alive, like they want to connect." Dr. Elora Voss, who had been monitoring the energy readings, nodded in agreement. "These entities are unlike anything we've ever encountered. Their energy signatures are off the charts. They seem to be responding to our presence." As if on cue, the entity outside the ship pulsed brightly, sending waves of energy that enveloped Odyssey. The crew felt a warm sensation wash over them, as if they were being embraced by an unseen force. It was both exhilarating and comforting. "Prepare to initiate communication protocols," Harper commanded, his excitement bubbling over. He knew this was a historic moment, one that could redefine humanity's place in the universe. Leap of faith. With a deep breath, Harper activated the ship's communication system. "This is Captain Jack Harper of the Odyssey. We come in peace and seek to understand." His voice echoed through the ship as he spoke into the void. The entity responded by swirling around Odyssey, creating a dazzling display of colors that danced across the viewport. It was as if it understood him, acknowledging his presence with a cosmic ballet of light. "Captain," Dr. Voss said urgently as she monitored her instruments, "I'm detecting fluctuations in their energy patterns. They're attempting to communicate back." Harper felt a surge of hope at her words. "What are they saying?" "I can't translate it yet," she replied, her brow furrowed in concentration, "but it feels joyful, like they're celebrating our arrival." The crew exchanged glances filled with anticipation and wonder. They were on the verge of something monumental, a connection with beings that existed beyond their understanding. The first contact. As if sensing their eagerness, the entity began to form shapes within its glowing body, abstract patterns that shifted and morphed into recognizable symbols. The crew gasped as they realized these shapes resembled rudimentary drawings, circles, spirals, and waves. "Look!" Tilly exclaimed from her engineering station. "They're trying to communicate visually." Dr. Voss quickly grabbed her datapad and began sketching out similar shapes in response. "We should reciprocate. This might be our best chance to establish a common ground." With each stroke of her stylus, she drew simple representations of their ship and their crew, humans and aliens alike, smiling and reaching out toward the glowing entity outside. To their astonishment, the entity responded by morphing its shape into something resembling a giant hand made of light. Gesture that seemed both inviting and playful. "Captain," Dr. Voss said breathlessly, "I think they want us to reach out." Harper's heart raced as he approached the viewport, extending his hand toward the shimmering figure before him. The moment felt surreal. He was about to touch something that transcended all known life forms. Touch of light. As Harper's fingers met the surface of the viewport, an incredible sensation coursed through him. A wave of warmth and energy that felt like pure joy radiating from within. The entity, pulsed brightly at his touch, sending ripples of light cascading across Odyssey. "Captain," Tilly shouted excitedly as she monitored energy readings spiking dramatically. "Their energy is stabilizing. It's like they're harmonizing with us." Harper couldn't believe what he was experiencing. It was as if he had tapped into a wellspring of cosmic consciousness, a connection that transcended language or species. Suddenly, images flooded his mind, visions of swirling galaxies, vibrant ecosystems thriving on distant planets, and creatures both wondrous and terrifying coexisting in harmony. He saw glimpses of life beyond comprehension, an interconnected web binding all beings together across time and space. "Do you see this?" he gasped, turning to his crew in disbelief. "They're showing us everything." Dr. Voss nodded vigorously as she experienced similar sensations through her own connection with the entity outside. "It's incredible. They're sharing knowledge, showing us their history." The cosmic dance. As more entities joined in this cosmic dance around Odyssey, each one pulsing with its unique rhythm and color palette, Harper felt an overwhelming sense of unity wash over him, a realization that they were all part of something much larger than themselves. "Let's show them who we are," he suggested excitedly. "Let's share our stories." With newfound determination, Harper led his crew in creating their own visual representations, sketches depicting humanity's journey through time, from primitive beginnings to interstellar explorers seeking knowledge among the stars. As they shared these images through their communication system, an extraordinary transformation occurred among the quantum entities. They began to mirror these representations in their own forms, shifting colors and shapes that reflected humanity's joy, struggles, and triumphs throughout history. It was a breathtaking spectacle, a kaleidoscope of light illuminating the vastness around them as both humans and quantum entities participated in this cosmic exchange. Understanding through connection. Hours passed like minutes as Harper and his crew engaged in this profound dialogue with beings from beyond comprehension. Laughter echoed through Odyssey as they shared stories filled with hope and resilience, their spirits lifted by this newfound connection. But amidst this joy lingered an underlying question. What did these entities want from them? Were they merely curious observers, or did they seek something deeper? As if sensing Harper's thoughts, one particular entity floated closer than ever before. Its form flickered gently like candlelight while projecting waves of energy that enveloped him once more. In an instant, Harper found himself immersed in another vision, a glimpse into a world where fear ruled over understanding, where beings lived isolated from one another due to misunderstanding and prejudice. He saw chaos erupting among once peaceful civilizations torn apart by conflict, image that left him breathless with sorrow for those who had lost their way amidst darkness. "Captain," Dr. Voss called out anxiously from her station. She could sense something profound had shifted within him during this encounter. I think I understand," Harper replied softly. Tears welled up in his eyes as he processed what he had witnessed, a reminder that connection was key to overcoming fear, that empathy could bridge even the widest chasms between species. New mission. With renewed purpose burning brightly within him, Harper turned back toward his crew. Determination etched across every feature on his face as he spoke passionately about what lay ahead for them all. "We have been given an incredible gift today," he declared firmly, every eye focused intently upon him, now filled with hope for what came next. "These beings have shown us how important it is to connect, to understand one another despite our differences." Dr. Voss nodded eagerly while Tilly chimed in excitedly. "We need to share this knowledge with others. This could change everything." Krieg crossed his arms thoughtfully before speaking up. "If we can help others see beyond their fears, we may prevent conflicts before they even begin." "Yes," Harper exclaimed triumphantly. "We'll become ambassadors for peace, spreading understanding wherever we go. Our mission will be about fostering connections, not just exploring new worlds but building bridges between species." The crew erupted into cheers, filled with excitement at this new direction for their journey together. And just like that, the Odyssey transformed from mere explorers into harbingers of hope across galaxies. As they continued dancing amidst swirling energies, their hearts united by purpose, the adventure had only just begun. The Cosmic Pet Dilemma. As the Odyssey floated in the heart of the Zorg-N Nebula, Captain Jack Harper and his crew found themselves in a surreal world filled with vibrant energy entities. Their initial excitement had transformed into a profound understanding of the interconnectedness of all beings. Yet, amidst this cosmic wonder, a new dilemma began to emerge, one that would challenge their perceptions of companionship and fear. The concept of pets. In the weeks that followed their first contact with the quantum entities, the crew of Odyssey had established a unique bond with these beings. They learned to communicate through light patterns and vibrations, sharing stories and experiences that transcended language. However, as they spent more time together, Harper noticed something peculiar. The crew's fascination with these entities began to mirror humanity's age-old relationship with pets. "Look at them," Tilly said one day, her eyes sparkling as she observed a group of entities swirling playfully around Krieg. "They're like cosmic puppies. Just look at how they respond to him." Krieg laughed heartily as an entity playfully nudged him with a burst of energy, sending ripples of light across his massive frame. "I never thought I'd befriend something like this," he exclaimed, his voice booming with joy. "It's incredible." Harper couldn't help but smile at the sight. The crew's interactions with the quantum entities were reminiscent of how humans interacted with their pets back on Earth. It was a relationship built on trust, affection, and mutual understanding, something that had always fascinated him about humanity's bond with animals. The alien perspective. However, not everyone shared this sentiment. Dr. Elora Voss observed the growing attachment between her crewmates and the quantum entities with a mix of fascination and concern. She had dedicated her life to studying alien species and their behaviors, yet this phenomenon perplexed her. "Captain," she approached Harper one evening as they watched the entities dance outside the viewport. "Can't help but wonder if we're projecting our own desires onto them. These beings are not pets. They are sentient entities with their own consciousness and culture." Harper nodded thoughtfully, appreciating her perspective. "I understand what you're saying, Elora, but isn't it possible that they enjoy our company? They seem to thrive on our interactions." Elora sighed, her brow furrowed in contemplation. "Perhaps, but we must remember that our concept of companionship is vastly different from theirs. We shouldn't assume they want to be treated like pets." As they discussed the implications of their newfound relationships, Harper couldn't shake the feeling that something deeper was at play, a connection that transcended species and definitions. A pivotal moment. One fateful day, while exploring a particularly vibrant section of the nebula, Harper and his crew stumbled upon a cluster of quantum entities engaged in what appeared to be a ritualistic display. The colors swirled in intricate patterns as they communicated through bursts of light and sound. "Look at that!" Tilly exclaimed, her eyes wide with wonder. "They're performing some kind of dance." The crew gathered around, captivated by the spectacle before them. As they watched in awe, one entity broke away from the group and floated toward Harper, its form shifting into a playful spiral. "Captain," Dr. Voss whispered urgently, "this could be significant. We should observe closely." Harper extended his hand toward the entity, feeling an instinctive urge to connect with it. The entity responded by wrapping around his fingers in a warm embrace of light, a gesture that felt both intimate and profound. Suddenly, another entity darted forward and emitted a series of rapid pulses, an urgent warning that sent shivers down Harper's spine. "What's happening?" he asked anxiously. Dr. Voss furrowed her brow as she analyzed the situation. "It seems like they're trying to convey something important. We need to pay attention." As if sensing their concern, the entity around Harper pulsed gently before releasing him from its embrace. It then joined its companions in an intricate formation that resembled a protective barrier surrounding them. The frightened creature. Just then, a loud roar echoed through the nebula, a sound unlike anything they had encountered before. The crew exchanged fearful glances as shadows loomed in the distance. "What was that?" Krieg growled, his muscles tensing instinctively. "I don't know," Harper replied cautiously, scanning their surroundings for any sign of danger. Moments later, from behind a swirling cloud of energy emerged a massive creature, an enormous being resembling a fusion between various predatory species found across galaxies. Its eyes glowed ominously as it approached them with an air of menace. The quantum entities reacted immediately. They formed tighter circles around Odyssey, pulsating brightly in an attempt to ward off the impending threat. "Stay calm," Harper commanded his crew as he assessed their options. "We need to figure out how to communicate with it." Dr. Voss's heart raced as she realized what was happening. This creature was frightened. Its aggressive stance was likely born out of fear rather than malice. "Captain," she urged urgently, "we need to show it we mean no harm. If we can establish trust, perhaps it will back down." A risky approach. With determination etched across his face, Harper made a bold decision. He would step outside Odyssey and attempt to connect with this frightened creature directly. "Are you sure about this?" Tilly asked anxiously as she prepared the ship's systems for an emergency extraction if needed. "I have to try," Harper replied resolutely. "If there's any chance we can help it understand us, we owe it to both ourselves and this creature." Equipped with protective gear and tethered securely to Odyssey, Harper stepped out into the swirling energies of the nebula once more, his heart pounding in his chest as he approached the massive being before him. "Easy now," he spoke softly but firmly. He could see fear flickering in its eyes despite its intimidating presence. "We're not here to hurt you." To his surprise, the creature paused for a moment. Its glowing eyes softened slightly as it regarded him curiously rather than aggressively. "Please," Harper continued gently. He reached out slowly, his hand trembling slightly, but determined not to show fear himself. "We just want to understand, just like you." A moment of connection. As if sensing his sincerity, the creature lowered its massive head slightly, its eyes shimmering with uncertainty, but also curiosity. A flicker of hope igniting within Harper's heart. Suddenly, something remarkable happened. One of the quantum entities floated forward. It pulsed brightly before intertwining itself around both Harper and the massive creature. A gesture meant to bridge their worlds together. Harper felt warmth radiate from both beings. The energy enveloping him felt like an embrace filled with understanding. He focused on projecting calmness while maintaining eye contact with both creatures, hoping against hope that this moment would lead them toward connection rather than conflict. Gradually, the creature began to relax. Its body language shifted from defensive posturing into something softer, more receptive. "I think it understands," Dr. Voss shouted from aboard Odyssey, her voice filled with excitement as she monitored their readings closely. With renewed determination, Harper took another step closer. He extended his hand toward the creature once more, this time without hesitation. In response, the massive being leaned forward tentatively, its breath warm against Harper's palm. A moment suspended in time where fear transformed into trust. New understanding. The cosmic dance continued around them, the quantum entities pulsing brightly as if celebrating this newfound connection between species. As emotion surged within him, Harper realized that humanity's ability to turn fear into friendship was not just limited to mere pets. It extended across all species. In that moment, he understood what Dr. Voss had been trying to convey. True companionship transcended definitions. It was built upon empathy and understanding regardless of form or origin. With newfound clarity, Harper turned back toward Odyssey, where his crew awaited anxiously. He knew they were on the brink of something extraordinary. not just for themselves, but for all beings who sought connection amidst chaos. "We did it," he shouted triumphantly. "We've shown them we mean no harm." Cheers erupted from aboard Odyssey as Krieg pounded his fists together in celebration while Tilly jumped up excitedly. But amidst their joy, a realization dawned upon them all. This was only the beginning. They had forged bonds not only between themselves and these incredible beings, but also opened doors leading toward understanding across galaxies. As they prepared for what lay ahead, their mission transformed once more, not merely explorers venturing into unknown territories, but ambassadors fostering connections among all forms of life throughout existence itself.